Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a review of this ball right here, the Adidas Fussballlibe competition. This ball, if you guys can see right here from the actual design and also have a memory from last year in June 2024, is the ball that was used for Euro 2024 in Germany. Obviously, not the exact ball because this is the competition variation, so one step below the actual official match ball. But, same idea, same design, same graphics. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at the ball, its tech specs and its lore specs, or lore facts, whatever you want to call it. I'll talk about it more when I get to the actual in-depth look at the ball. And it'll be giving you guys a sense of, what to expect from a text perspective, as well as to explain some of the history and nuances and cues that went to design this ball, making it the way that it is. I'm really excited to kind of get into this because this ball in particular, I really liked it when it first came out. I thought it was a really cool design, but for some reason I slept on like actually picking it up. To be fair, I wasn't really into getting soccer balls at the time, anyways. But now, like, I was kind of looking at some new balls I could add to my collection. And I saw this on Evangelisto's website. They only had one left, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'll pull the trigger on this, pick it up. I really like the design, and I've also never had a speed shell Adidas ball, which I'll get into more during the actual tech specs part of the video. I was like, okay, might as well pick this up and see what I think about it. So yeah, we have it now, and we're going to review it. One thing to also mention, in terms of the presentation, is this is one of the only balls I've received so far that hasn't come in a plastic bag or just like in a cardboard box when delivered. Just like my, what do you call it, my Nike Premier League Club Elite Third, which I reviewed in my last video. This ball actually comes in its own box. Now I've taken the ball out of the box because obviously prepping to review it. I'll throw it on the ground right there. But yeah, it comes in its own box. Size 5, it says on it. Size 5 official size and weight with some Adidas logos on it. And then you can see on the actual box, it says Fussballlibe Competition 2024, I believe, $85. So yeah, pretty unique, really good in terms of presentation, and I really appreciate that Adidas went through the trouble to actually put the ball inside the box, which is weird though because this ball comes in a box, but a ball like this, for example, which I will be reviewing on a later date, you can see I actually have the UCL competition ball for this season. It comes in a recycled bag. Can't explain it. But yeah, that's just something I want to highlight about the presentation. So yeah, we're just going to hop into this review, and without further ado, let's do it. So to review the Fussballlibe, I'm going to take a look at it from two different angles. Its tech specs as well as its lore specs. Tech specs obviously is going to refer to the actual tech behind the ball and how it's constructed, whereas lore specs will talk more so about the design and I guess the cultural impact it has relative to the tournament it was in and just other factors related to that stuff. So we're going to begin with the tech specs because I think that's pretty short and sweet. It'll be pretty easy to get through. So beginning with this tech specs, as you guys can see, the ball features 20 panels that are thermally bonded and are seamless in order to give you a very nice, smooth, and seamless fit to the ball. It doesn't say on the ball itself, but it features speed shell technology. And basically, it's the kind of panel design that was introduced by Adidas back in 2022 for the 2022 World Cup with the Al Rila ball and subsequently the Al Hilm. I think it's something like that's how you say it. Every single ball since then has used this speed shell design, and it will probably continue to be used up until the 2026 World Cup when they bring out a new ball with a new panel design. Now, regarding the texture on the ball, seeing as this is a competition, the texture is heavily downgraded compared to that of what's on the Pro Ball. Here on the competition, you guys can see, if I bring it really close, you have this kind of like diamond etching pattern that spans the entire ball, and that's the only kind of texture that you're going to get on the ball. There'll be no other texture on it to kind of, give you grip in like wet conditions or, to kind of give you a better feel for the ball. And this is a stark contrast to what you get from the actual Pro version, because on the Pro version, you have channels and dimpling all over the ball, which both help with the traction on the ball and the overall flight of the ball through the air. Apparently, Adidas completely revised the kind of etching and dimpling that they had on the Al Rila balls for the Fussballlibe so that they could get an even faster ball that moves much better through the air. but you don't get any of that on the competition version, which I think is kind of funny actually that you guys can see. It says it's the official match ball, but doesn't say official match ball replica or like competition anywhere on the ball. So I don't know if that's a printing error because it's nowhere on the ball that this is a competition edition. It just says official match ball, which I mean, it is FIFA Quality Pro, so I guess you could say it is, but that's besides the point. It's just something interesting I wanted to point out. But yeah, you don't get any of those channels or those dimples that you would see on the panels to kind of aid with air resistance and also just a better flight as well as some extra grip. And additionally, on the Fussballlibe Pro, you'll notice that there are these Adidas logos, very, very tiny ones that are put all over the ball to kind of act as a kind of traction pattern. And there will be pictures to kind of show you guys exactly what I mean. But yeah, all of that's present on the Pro Ball, and you get none of that on this version. So that kind of makes this version a little less, I guess, effective, especially in slick or hard to control conditions, like when it's raining predominantly. And I think that's kind of a miss from Adidas. I think they could have done a little better with the grip on this ball, especially given its price point. But all things considered, I don't think it will have that much of an effect. In terms of the actual feel, it's definitely more on the matte side, which you'll notice with a lot of balls from the competition tier, or even like for Nike's balls, for example, the Club Elite tier. Again, you're going to notice that kind of matte feel. But with this ball, it does feel a bit more padded. The outer shell of these 20 panels, it doesn't feel like, the UCL competition, for example, where that ball, the outer shell with the stars, it feels very hard to the touch. This feels a little more padded and a little more dampened the way I'm like kind of, messing with it in my hands. And so I feel like when you're striking it, you'll get a better sense of how the ball feels. It'll be more responsive. It'll just be more fun to use because of that, which is very nice, especially for those of you who don't like a ball that's like super pingy. I think this might be probably up there as one of the best like first tier takedowns in terms of a nice comfortable ball, if that makes sense. Now that's it really for the tech specs, nothing too crazy. Let's get into the lore. So the name, of course, is the Fußballliebe, and the real meaning behind this in English is translated to the love of football, which I think is a beautiful message because, that's what the sport is about. It's about the love of it. That's why we do it. That's why we watch it. That's why we're interested in it. It's because we love the game no matter what. So that's a really cool name. And honestly, it's not something I was expecting when I was trying to look into what the name actually meant. The designs and shapes on the ball, as you guys can see, it's got like these wing designs with some colors kind of etched all over them, just really with green, red, and this looks like, it does look how it looks in the camera, really. It's kind of like a really pale orange-ish yellow. And then you get some blue around these black circles. So for that, all those really are just kind of to highlight the countries that qualified for the tournament. The colors are to kind of give off the vibrance and to show I guess, the inclusivity and well, yeah, like I already said, the vibrance, the magnanimity of the colors and of the nations that have made it to kind of show all these different people coming together for the love of football, for the enjoyment of the game, which I think is pretty cool. But also it's something that if you were just looking at the ball, you would have no idea that's what it's meant to represent because it's not the most obvious thing, really. And then you'll also notice down the ball, there are names or names of cities in Germany, which is where Euro 2024 was held. And you'll see these designs of the stadiums. So each and every single one of these names is actually supposed to be a city in which a game of the Euros was held. And the stadiums represent the stadiums of teams that were used for the Euros. So, for example, I'll start here. You have Cologne. I think I said that right. I think that's the stadium for FC Köln. Not entirely sure, but don't quote me on that, but that's what I'm thinking. Obviously, you have Leipzig, probably RB Leipzig Stadium. Berlin, probably like, Hertha Berlin or one of those teams. Dortmund, of course, Borussia Dortmund. Stuttgart, Stuttgart, of course. I think there's some other ones, if I can find them. Munich, of course. I think the final was held in Munich, if I'm not surprised. And obviously, that's the home of like Bayern Munich. I think there's another team that plays there. I'm not entirely sure which one. Dusseldorf. And yeah, it's just really it for the design of the ball. Overall, I think the design is pretty solid. Like, The colors, I like the colors because it adds a bit of vibrance to the ball, makes it look, you know, it pops not too much, but it kind of stands out on the pitch. It'll kind of make people wonder what you're playing with. And then I guess like just having the stadiums and like the names of the cities that were involved in the tournament is also a nice touch to really let you know that like all of Germany is involved in this tournament, which I mean everyone probably knew that already when the tournament happened, but I guess it's like a nice detail to have to the actual look of the ball. You get the UEFA Euro 2024 logo in blue with the trophy right there. Adidas logo and any other like Adidas writing is in blue. And over here, you can kind of see some of the more specs of the ball. Size 5 it has a 2-year shape guarantee, which is kind of interesting. Made in China. Pressure, precision, blah, blah, blah. You can see its pressure rating at zero point 0.8 bar or 11.6 to 14.5 psi, which is very common with most of the balls released these days, especially for like the competition tier. I think match balls have a little better or a little higher of like a pressure requirement, but yeah, it's pretty good, pretty cool. And then I think I mentioned it earlier, but as you guys can see, the ball is FIFA Quality Pro certified. Again, I still don't know why like this has the FIFA Quality Pro certification, but you know, this ball I reviewed last time, here is the Club Elite for the Premier League. You can see it's basic, but both balls are, you know, $80 balls. So what's the difference? Aren't they like the same in quality? Because these are the first takedowns for their respective ball, this being for the Flight and this being for the Fussballlibe Pro. I don't know. I really don't understand how that works, but you know, I digress. Anyways, that's really it for, you know, the tech and the looks. Let's just get back to the main review now. So now that we're back to the main part of the review, I'm just going to give you guys some extra facts and details, mainly regarding the pricing and like kind of what I'm looking forward to doing with the ball. So in terms of the pricing, this ball and actually all competition balls from Adidas besides the Tiro 23 competition will probably be the most expensive of the first tier takedowns from any brands. At least any of the big three brands. I don't know much about Select because I know they're a very big retailer in the ball world, but most of their prices I've usually seen American. I haven't done the conversions myself, so I can't be exactly accurate on what you'd be paying. If you were to go for like maybe the equivalent of a Select ball to a competition or a Club Elite or an Orbita 2, such Orbita 1, I think it's called. But in terms of the big three brands, to keep it simple, the Adidas competition balls are going to run you about $85, especially because they're all league affiliated. So I feel like there's a little premium of $5, kind of like how Nike does their premium with their Club Elite for the Premier League affiliated versions. Those are $5 extra. So yeah, these will be 85. This was 85. Club Elites are going to be 75 or 80, depending on which one you get. And then the Orbitas are about 70. So these are the most expensive of the first tier takedowns from the big three brands. Additionally, what I think this ball will end up being will probably be like a nice balance between the Club Elite as well as the UCL competition, because as you guys are going to see it in a different video. I've already filmed the video, but depends which one goes up first. This ball has a softer outer shell, and I already mentioned in this video as well, than what's on the UCL competition, but it doesn't feel as soft as what's on Club Elite. So I feel like you'll get the same kind of dampening effect that you get from the Club Elite, but not to the same degree, while also getting a little more comfort and playability than what you would get from the UCL competition. Like you won't feel like you're breaking your foot with it, and it won't feel like very uncomfortable, especially in adverse weather. And actually, I think you guys should stay tuned because I will have a comparison video up comparing the speed shell competition balls, because that's what most of the balls that you see out from Adidas are, whether it's the MLS 25 ball or the Club World Cup ball or the Argentum 24. This ball, whichever, they're all using the same panel structure. It's just different graphics. So I'll be comparing those speed shell balls to the UCL competition ball as well, and also to the Club Elite to give you guys a sense of what will be the best kind of first tier takedown ball for you. But also, I might wait to pick up a Puma Orbita 1 takedown, just because, you know, again, that ball is considered to be one of the better ones in terms of the overall first tier takedown space as well. And I wouldn't want my review to be like, you know, biased away from that. But I also do recognize that most people, when buying a soccer ball, pick up Adidas and Nike products. So I feel like maybe I'll do one video comparing the three to start off, and then I'll do another video comparing the four when I get a Orbita to compare the Puma as well. But that's besides the point. That's just what I plan to do regarding this ball. But that's really it for the review of this Adidas Fussballlibe competition. If you guys really enjoyed the video, please make sure to drop a like, drop a comment, and of course subscribe. It shows me that you guys are really interested in the content and you want to see more. And if you do want to see more, don't forget that I have an Instagram and TikTok account. Both will go by the same name as this account, ilodigwe.football. Put the name up on screen. That's where I post the majority of my content, which is short form. You'll find anything from training sessions, boot reviews, boot unboxings, ASMR unboxings of even the soccer balls, footy talks, just in shorter form versions, and like just some other general posts and stuff related to footy. If you like footy, you're going to love those accounts. That's the end of the story. With that all said, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a blessed day, and I will see you all in my next video.